Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Ram Ram.
We are live now.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo
Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om
Namo
Namo
Bhagavate
Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya. Let's start with the Bhagavatam. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashnaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Charine. Says the Sindhivari Paschati this time. Is it marked?
Yep. Right here. Paper. Yeah, there you go.
36?
Yep.
So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd Canto, Chapter 28, Text 36. So Kitaya Charamaya Manaso Nivritya Tasmin Mahimya Shita Shuka Dukkha Bhaye Hetutam Apyasiti Katari Dukkha Dukkayo Yat Shvatman Vidatta Upalabda Paratma Kashtaha. Word meaning. The yogi. Api. Moreover. Nitaya. By this. Charamaya. Ultimate. Manasaha. Of the mind. Nivritya. By cessation of material reaction.
By the cessation of material desire.
Tasmin. In his. Mahimni. Ultimate glory. Avasitaha. Situated. Sukha dukkha bhaye. Outside of happiness and distress. Hetutvam. The cause. Api. Indeed. Asati. A product of ignorance. Kartari. In the false ego. Dukkayoho. Of pleasure and pain. Yat. Which. Swatman. To his own self. Vidate. He attributes. Upalabdha. Realized. We are looking for happiness. So I'm not looking for happiness. That way I don't have to go into cycles of duality. So when you become a devotee, you escape that cycle. And Prabhupada often talks about the difficulty of trying to be happy. It's not easy. And it's not like you just sit down and you're happy. That's spiritual. But material, you have to go and find it, right? Because the nature of the mind and senses is they always want more. So it's quite difficult to be happy, at least to sustain it. And even materialists, they talk about this. Happiness is like a butterfly. It comes and then it goes. So when you become a devotee, you stop struggling to be happy. You just serve Krishna and you'll be happy. So you don't have to look for it anymore. It comes as a byproduct. But if you're not doing that and you're trying to and become happy some other way, then automatically you'll get distress. It comes with the package. Just the way it is. As long as one acts on his own account, he is subject to the material perceptions of so-called happiness and distress. Actually, there is no happiness. Just as there is no happiness in any of the activities of a madman, so in material activities, the mental concoctions of happiness and distress are false. Actually, everything is distress. We were taking a walk yesterday by the golf course, and as we were walking by, I told Prem Kishore, this is one of the most unexciting sports there is, just knocking a ball in a hole. And Prem Kishore is not familiar with golf, and he was trying to understand how anyone could get any pleasure from knocking a ball in a hole. And I said, well, he's trying to understand. I said, well, they get out, they're not working, so they're out on the golf course. And, they kind of feel free. So Prabhupada often explains happiness as a relief of distress. So, I was joking. I said, if you think golf is happiness, your life must be really bad. Like sometimes you'll eat something, like you and I are eating, and you'll say, this is really good, and I'll be eating it, and I'll be thinking, it's not good. And then I'm thinking, like, I wonder what you normally eat, because if you think this is good, it's really not. You must not be eating very well. Yeah. So yeah, I just eat canned beans every day. So you come here and eat burnt dal and over salted rice, and that tastes good compared to what you're eating. So material happiness is something like that. Like compared to the distresses of your life, this is a relief. So when you're relieved of distress, you ever have a pain and finally goes away, you feel really happy, isn't it? I feel so good. My knee hurts. And then the pain goes away and I say, how does your knee feel? And you say, it feels good. But if I ask you now, how does your knee feel? You won't say it feels good. You'll say, I don't know. It just doesn't feel anything. So, isn't it? So when the distress goes away and you say, it's good. My knee feels good now. There's no pain. But yesterday, when there wasn't pain, I didn't feel my knee was feeling good. It just wasn't feeling. So when you remove pain, you call that happiness. That's material happiness. It doesn't exactly look like that, but when you analyze it more carefully, you really see, if I do this, it makes me totally forget my miserable life. And this is really making me happy. Of course, you can say, come on, material happiness means you're stimulating your senses. That's true. And then you stimulate your senses, you get a sense of enjoyment. But then the ultimate issue is really just a alleviation of some suffering. So if you're stimulating your senses, then you're alleviating some suffering. When the mind is dovetailed to act according to the desire of the Lord, one has attained the transcendental stage. The desire to lord it over material nature is the cause of ignorance. And when that desire is completely extinguished, and the desires are dovetailed with those of the Supreme Lord, one has reached the perfectional stage. Upalabdha paratma kashtaha. Upalabdha means realization. Realization necessarily indicates individuality. In the perfectional, liberated stage, There is actual realization. Nivritya means that the living entity keeps his individuality. Oneness means that he realizes happiness in the happiness of the Supreme Lord. In the Supreme Lord, there is nothing but happiness. Anandamayo Vyasat. The Lord is by nature full of transcendental happiness. And Anandamaya, Maya in this sense means full of. Like we say, Brahma Samhita says Chinmaya Rasa. So Chit and Ananda, Sat Chit Ananda. So sometimes we say Chinmaya, full of Chit. Anandamaya, full of Ananda. So Krishna is Anandamaya. Not when you say full of Maya, full of Ananda. When you say full of Ananda, the concept is not there's something other than Ananda, and he filled himself up with Ananda, but there's something near Ananda about him. No, it's only Ananda. That's what it means. There's no near Ananda. In the material world, we say it's Achit, Asad, and Nirananda. Near Ananda, and in the spiritual world, Sat Chit Ananda. So here, there's only Asad, Achit, and Nirananda. And as Prabhupada says, and sometimes you think there's Ananda, but that's just an illusion, because you're swimming in the ocean of Asat, Achit, and Nirananda. So any kind of Ananda you think you have, it's just kind of like an intoxication. It's not real. And in the spiritual world, there's only Sat Chit Ananda, so you can't suffer. It's not possible. There's no possibility. There's no death. There's no ignorance, and there's no suffering. And then you might say, what? In Krishna Lila, there's so much suffering. Krishna goes away, everyone's miserable. Separation. So many demons coming and harassing the Brajbasis and so many things. But that just appears to be suffering, but it's actually enjoyment. Of course, we may not understand, but wherever there is separation, when Krishna goes away, the love increases. And as the love increases, because the love is Ananda, it's increasing more and more. So there's only Ananda. You're swimming, it's like you're swimming in an ocean of milk. There's only milk, nothing. The only liquid is milk. It's not water, it's milk. And you're full of milk, and everywhere there's milk. So in the spiritual world, it's only Ananda. That's all it is. It's not possible to suffer. Yesterday, a devotee was saying, I have some reservations about going to the spiritual world. He didn't tell me what they were. But obviously, if you have a reservation about going to the spiritual world, what's the reservation? Well, what if I go there and I'm not happy? So some people think like, you might think that's funny. Why would you think like that? Well, I said to him, why? You think they don't have any video games there? How will I live? There's no TikTok up there. I'm addicted to TikTok, and I don't want to go back to God. Like something that I so-called enjoy here is not there, and I think I'll be missing out when I go there. And I told him, I said, actually, as Prabhupada says here, actually, you're just looking for love, and you're not finding love on TikTok or Instagram. You're not finding love anywhere on your phone. You're not finding love anywhere in this world. All that love is in the spiritual world. It's not here. What's here is, everything here is a perversion of that. So you're not fully satisfied with the love you get here. It's not complete. And so if you go to a place where there's only love and only bliss, how could you not be happy? It doesn't make sense. Does it? And if you go to a place where there's no real love and surrounded by the three modes of nature and distress, then how could you be happy? So the fear of that I won't be happy there is probably the biggest illusion that we could fall into, because it's only Ananda. And here it's only Nirananda. And the happiness we get here, it's an illusion. We think we're happy. And of course, it doesn't last anyway. We call sense gratification happiness, isn't it? You enjoy yourself. you have a good week? What did you do this weekend? Did you have a good time? Well, what did you do to have a good? What do you do to have a good time? Nothing. No, you do something. That's enjoyable to what? Your mind, your intelligence, or one of your senses, right? That's what we call enjoyment. If you did nothing and all your senses were in pain, you wouldn't say I had a good time. So good time means in this world means some enjoyment comes from our senses. And Krishna says, why would you do something to enjoy that's going to end? And we're thinking, well, that's normal. You do it, it doesn't last forever, nothing lasts forever. And Krishna says, no, that's not true. Something does last forever. Transcendental enjoyment, it's eternal. It lasts forever. So if you could have transcendental enjoyment, why would you do something that doesn't last forever? That's like rethinking. We have to rethink from a perspective of reality. The perspective of reality is eternity. And when you look from this perspective, it's all just relative, temporary. If you can get some happiness for a while, a day, 2, a month, whatever, that's great. And then when there's some problem, you accept it. Well, that's just how it is. And Krishna's saying, yeah, that's how it is. And if you're smart, you won't look for that. You'll look for what's eternal, right? Tamasima jyotir gama. Why would you go to ignorance if you go to light? Why would you go to temporary pleasure if you can awaken your eternal pleasure? It's very fundamental, but it's the nature of our ignorance. The nature of our ignorance is that things are so obvious, they're in front of us, and we don't understand them. We don't see them. And maybe we have to live 1,000,000 lifetimes before we understand some simple truth. Like in this purport, Prabhupada says, or the verse, says, when you become self-realized, you realize that Krishna is the enjoyer. And that you realize you're not the enjoyer because all your enjoyment ultimately caused you to take birth. Isn't it? My desire to enjoy will cause me to take birth. My desire to serve Krishna's enjoyment will cause me to live eternally with him in the ocean of bliss. So I don't know how to be happy because in trying to be happy, I end up taking another body. That's the conclusion of my effort for happiness. And when you serve Krishna, then you eternally swim in the ocean of transcendental bliss. And you're not even trying to be happy. And you don't have to, because if you serve Krishna, he takes care of everything. Ananya chintayantamas. Krishna says in the Gita, I'll take care of what you don't have to worry. I'll take care of it. And I'll take care of it better than you can. Yogakshema bahamyaham. Who can make you happy? Who do you think can make you happy better? You or Krishna? Yes. Yeah, and we think we can. Because we're afraid to surrender, and we think, if I surrender, I won't be happy. That's backwards. If you don't surrender, you won't be happy. If you do surrender, you will. Conditioned soul thinks, if I surrender to Krishna, I won't. So then it's like saying, Krishna, I know how to make myself happy better than you know how to make me happy. And Krishna says, okay, that's what you want. That's what you get. But it's obvious that Krishna knows how to make us happy better than we do. But maybe we don't believe it. We have fear. I have to give up something. I won't be happy. I won't enjoy. All these fears. Because we don't realize that transcendental bliss is something in a total different universe from the happiness of sense pleasure. I have to give up something. And like sometimes, it's interesting that people would say to Prabhupada, well, if you become Krishna conscious, you have to give up everything. And of course, they're thinking about sex. I have to give up sex because sex is on everyone's mind. And so one man said, well, do I have to give up sex? And Prabhupada said, no, you don't have to give up anything. You do everything for Krishna. You get married, have children. You don't have to give up sex. You make nice offerings to Krishna. You eat nicely. You don't have to give up anything. But ultimately, you just have to give up the mentality that I am the center, this world is for me. And change that to Krishna is the center and it's for him. And then when you have that mentality, you don't have to give up anything because you don't use anything for yourself. You don't use anything for sense gratification. So you have everything and you're totally renounced. Right? Yes. Anyway, you have any questions on that? Or you're already situated in transcendental ecstasy, so you understand all of this anyway.
So one quick question.
Yes.
Krishna gave us this sense enjoyment.
Yeah.
Is that just to give a flavor of what real enjoyment looks like?
Krishna gave us sense enjoyment because that's what we want. As Prabhupada often said, Krishna will give you whatever you want. And of course, you think, oh, I want $1 billion and I want 1 billion girlfriends and I want, why don't I have that? That's, he doesn't want to give you something so you can destroy yourself. But there's this question, when you become a devotee and you want to become renounced and so forth, you start thinking, Krishna, if you want me to become renounced, why did you make so many things attractive in this world? Because there's so many things I'm attracted to that I can't give up. And if you wanted me to give them up, why'd you make them so attractive? And Krishna would say, because you wanted to enjoy them. Because you came here to enjoy, so I made things attractive. Krishna, why'd you make food taste so good? Because you want to eat. Why'd you make women so beautiful? Because you want to enjoy them. What if there were no beautiful women? Then you say, God, why didn't you make any beautiful women? You cursed me, Isn't it? Something like that. God, why did you create me and I can't enjoy? Why and all the music you hear is out of key and offbeat. Why did you make music like that? I'm suffering. No. So we want to enjoy, so Krishna says, okay. Here's a body. You have 5 senses and a mind. Go for it. You can enjoy with your ear, you can hear nice things, you can smell nice things with your nose, you can taste nice things with your tongue, you can touch nice things with your skin, you can see beautiful things, go for it. That's what you wanted. And then, but if you read the Gita carefully, Krishna is saying, but there's going to be distress also, as we just mentioned. So I will let you enjoy, but there'll be distress. Unless you live a sattvic life, there's going to be distress. So that's, Krishna gives you the senses, and then you completely misuse them, and you suffer like anything. Right? Now, another answer to that, which I think is more in line with how we feel as devotees, if imagine food didn't taste good, we'd all probably die of starvation. Imagine it was hard to eat, like nothing tasted good. You remember, like when you're a kid and there's something you don't like to eat, and your mother says, "Eat it. It's good for you." I'm like, "I don't want it. You gotta eat it. I don't want to eat it," and you start crying. So imagine everything was like that, right? We wouldn't eat, and there was no sexual attraction. There'd be no relationships. There'd be no progeny, and so there has to be some gratification of the senses in order for us to be able to exist. So that's another reason why. I think that's obvious, isn't it? Drink some water. I'm not thirsty. 28 days later, drink some water. I'm not thirsty. Unless you're thirsty, you're not going to drink. So Krishna creates a desire. Certain desires just so we would maintain our bodies. You ever hear about a person who has no sense of touch and how dangerous that is? Because if they're not careful and they're burning themselves, they don't know it because they can't feel it.
Usually diabetics get that.
Really. It's
Neuropathic,
dangerous, right? You know, you can harm yourself, you don't even know
diabetic neuropathic does.
it. Yeah. So we have to have some sense of touch, sight, and all these things to function. But the real reason is, as I said, is because that's what we want to enjoy. Now, take that same idea. I want to enjoy in this world. To enjoy in this world, I need a material body. So Krishna says, here's a body according to your karma. You know, in your last life, you paid this much with your karma, so you're going to get this kind of body. And you can pay more. If you want a better body, you can pay more in this life with better karma. Get a better birth. You'll have more enjoyment. Maybe you'll be more beautiful, healthier, whatever. So Krishna is awarding the body according to our desire and our actions. So what if you don't desire a material body? What if you have no more material desires and you only want to serve Krishna? What kind of body are you going to get? You'll get a spiritual body. Because with the spiritual body, you can serve Krishna eternally. And so we have a body because we wanted it. We have a material body because we wanted to enjoy materially. When you no longer want to enjoy materially, you want to serve Krishna, you get a spiritual body, and you can serve him eternally. Pretty simple, isn't it?
So
Yes.
better karma is the karma in the sattva guna.
No karma. Krishna says in the 9th chapter, we're not interested in piety or impiety.
So that's akarma you're talking about. Akarma.
Yeah. Karma, if we have any kind of karmic reaction, then you have to take a material body. So if you create karma in sattva guna, then you go up, take a higher life on a higher planet. But when you become a pure devotee, all you care about is Krishna's happiness. So you don't care if you go up or down or wherever you go. You just want to serve. And you're not interested in piety. You're not trying to this sounds funny. You're not trying to avoid impiety, and you're not trying to create piety. Of course, you're not committing sinful activity, but for the service of Krishna, what will please him, you're not calculating, well, will this create good karma or bad karma? It's just like the story of the gopis. We need the dust from your feet. Krishna has a headache. Oh, but if I give the dust on my feet, what's going to happen? And the gopis gave it. And Narada said, well, aren't you concerned that you'll go to hell? I said, whatever. Krishna has a headache. Yeah. So it's like that. So we're not concerned piety or impiety, because that's material. Now you could say, well, look at all these things you do in devotional service, that's piety. Well, technically speaking, it's not. It's transcendental. It's not material. You know, like one of the offenses to the holy name is to consider the chanting Hare Krishna to be equal to karma kanda, material activities for that create piety. It's not a pious activity. It's transcendental to piety. Right? So you could say, sometimes it is said, well, you know, if you don't go back to Godhead in this lifetime, then you're a devotee. Because of your devotional service, you've created like so much good karma, you could go to heaven. But it's not directly that devotional service creates good karma because it's transcendental, but that's just, okay, you've done so much, and if that, of course, Krishna says, if that's what you want, you can go up there, but a devotee doesn't want that. So we're not doing devotional service to get pious credits, although it's transcendental, but the byproduct of that could be incredible karma. Like Prabhupada says, if you give a donation to a devotee, then in your next life it'll come back unlimitedly. But that's not why you gave it. Hopefully it's not why you gave the donation. But that's just the nature of devotional service. That materially it'll come back in so many wonderful ways. Or it'll come back how Krishna wants it to come back. But still, however it comes back, it's not under the laws of karma. So we don't come to a temple to create good karma. We don't offer puja to create good karma. We don't give a donation to create good karma. Non-devotees do. That's how they think, right? Isn't it? You're an average Hindu. Why do they come to a temple? To create some kind of piety. Right? Things will go better. We don't do that. That's impure devotional service. That's actually offense to. I don't know if you know this, but it's an offense to the holy name to pray to the holy name for something material. Now, someone could say, but in the Bhagavatam it says, akama sarva kama va moksha kama udaradi. Whether you want kama or you don't want kama or you want moksha, you should pray to Krishna. But that's not for devotees. That's for people who are not yet devotees. Because if you want enjoyment and you come to Krishna, by coming to Krishna you get purified. So it's good people come and they get purified. But if you're practicing bhakti, you don't do these things to get elevated. You do these things to come closer to Krishna and satisfy Krishna. That's the difference. So like you could say, that's the difference between religion and spirituality. Religion creates piety. Religion is, like, look at Christianity. Christianity is concerned with going to heaven. That's like the fundamental of Christianity. You know, accept Jesus, you'll go to heaven. That's the foundation. The ABC is the first step. And, you know, we could say that also, chant Hare Krishna, and you go to the spiritual world. But as you develop your Krishna consciousness, you understand that's not why I'm chanting. I'm not chanting to go to the spiritual world per se. I'm chanting to love Krishna. If I love Krishna, I will go there. It's a byproduct. It's not the direct reason I do it, but it's what I get. Of course, you might say, well, some people chant Hare Krishna because they want to go back to Godhead. That's okay. It's an impetus to do it, but the highest desire is just to serve Krishna. And if your guru says, I want you to become purified and go back to Godhead, then your desire to go back to Godhead is pure, because you're doing what he wants you to do. He wants to get you out of here. Okay, so get out of here. Get purified. Get out of here. So the motive is a little different. It's like your guru came to liberate you, so you're chanting Hare Krishna. So he wants me to get out of here. I'm chanting. Krishna, get me out of here. Help me. But how do you get out of here? By loving Krishna. Krishna, help me love you. That's how I get out of here. So, yeah.
So what is that one thing, if I do, I get out of here?
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. The best thing. Oh, there's so many things. Well, if you don't have sadhu sangha, then you won't chant Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, chanting the pure name of Krishna is how we get love of Krishna. If we don't have sangha, we probably won't chant. And if we don't hear Bhagavatam and worship the deities, our chanting is probably not going to be pure. So it's a very synergistic process. But it's focused on Shuddhanam, chanting a pure name. Because you might say, well, you could read Bhagavatam, that's one of the 9 processes, hearing, and it's right there in scripture, you become a pure devotee. But in Kali Yuga, we've been given the holy name. So your Bhagavatam is purifying you, so you can chant Shuddhanam. Your deity worship is purifying you, so you can chant Shuddhanam. Your Sangha is purifying you, so you can chant in the first place and chant Shuddhanam. Shuddha-nam. All these things are purifying us. So we can chant a pure name, and Shastra says, when you chant a pure name of Krishna, you get love. That's when love awakens.
So all the 9 processes helps us to purify and chant holy name.
Yeah, because the holy name is the main process.
So how much time should we give for 9 processes and how much to holy name?
Well, the main processes are 5. So right now we're doing 3 of them. We're in a holy place, and just seeing the deity is like, because the deities are being worshipped, so seeing the deity is a form of deity worship. We're doing 4 of them right now. We have sadhu sangha, deity worship. We're in a holy place, and we're hearing Bhagavatam. And we did Shapa this morning, so we've already done all 5. The devotees, of all the 64 items, these are the 5 most important. And many devotees have noted, he said, isn't it interesting that these 5 items are done in the morning program that Prabhupada gave us? So you do the 5, and the other 4 will help your japa. So you can chant purely. Because if we don't chant purely, love of God is going to be difficult to awaken, if not impossible. And so the power user's secret for bhakti is attentive and devotional and loving japa. And deeply prayerful japa. That's the power use. This, what do they say? Power use, yeah.
So if one focuses fully on chanting
Without reading?
without any other process, is it possible?
In theory, yes, but it's not recommended. Because we're so conditioned, we need to understand the tattva of the holy name. We need to understand the tattva of bhakti. Otherwise, the mood in chanting may not be correct, and then we don't get the benefit. We need to understand the 10 offenses. We need to understand who Krishna is, who we are, the relationship. I'm servant, he's enjoyer. You need to understand all these things. Now, you might say, wouldn't that come from pure chanting? It would come from pure chanting, but initially, if you don't know those things, you won't be able to chant purely. So it's a conundrum. It's a, I don't know what the word is, but you understand.
What is the need to know so much detail when we know that chanting is Krishna himself?
Because we need, if we don't understand from the Bhagavatam and the Acharyas who is Krishna, we could misunderstand Krishna and become a sahaji and take our bhakti cheaply. Sahaja thinks they have a very high level of bhakti and they don't follow principles. So they're confused. So we need to understand what bhakti is according to the Acharyas. And then everything can be revealed through the holy name, because now you have a foundation based on knowledge. Otherwise, if we don't have that basic knowledge, we'll just guess, and we're not that pure. In answer to your question, one of the most interesting things in Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy to me is Sahajiism, because Sahajiism is a deviation from Shastra and from the Acharyas. So Sahajiyas come up with ideas that are not founded in our scripture. And when you understand their ideas, you think, how did they come up with that? Like, I have to have, Krishna has girlfriends, so if I want to develop my love for Krishna in conjugal rasa, I have to have girlfriends. Like, how do they come up with that? That's maybe in their perverted logic, they came up with that. But that's not based on anything any acharya said, any shastra. Some of them, as you probably know, men dress up as women. To get in the bhav of the gopis, like that. So that's not recommended anywhere in Shastra, and it just, some may smoke hashish, marijuana for helping their meditation or their bhav, whatever. So you need, Mahaprabhu is given a process of bhakti. He's taught it to the Goswamis. The Goswamis had explained it. And the reason he taught it to the Goswamis and the reason they explained it is because we would definitely misunderstand. So here's Radha and Krishna, boy, girl. What do you think when you see boy, girl? Right. So why does Krishna have so many girlfriends? Because we're thinking he's enjoying sexually with them.
The reason I'm asking is not about Sahaja. Don't worry about that thing. I don't think about it. But if one focuses all his energy on chanting and making sure one chants properly, hears properly, connects properly, and just focus only on one process, giving up everything on that for one process. Try to go as much deeper into the chanting as possible. Will that make one perfect?
When he's chanting, yes, but he needs to hear Bhagavatam. He needs to worship deities, he needs to go to the Dham, and he needs Sangha. And then when he's a self-realized soul, then when he's Thakur Haridas, yeah, what you said will work. But to get to that stage, that's all you have to do. You have to do the other things. But also, look at Prabhupada's example. He didn't do that. He did all the 5 processes, and he never retired. So higher than that is spreading Krishna consciousness, compassion. Because if all I did was just focus on my chanting, I could get quite self-centered. It's possible. I could just be about me and my Krishna and my chanting. So where's your guru and all this? Your guru tells you to spread Krishna consciousness and do other things. Because, that does happen. Some devotees just want to chant all day. Prabhupada, Bhaktisiddhanta discouraged it. Prabhupada discouraged it. And I would say that Prabhupada discouraged it mostly by his example. Even if you could say, Prabhupada said we should chant as much as possible. Now I'm older, I could chant, I'm going to retire and chant. And he did kind of say that, or maybe he directly said that in places, but his example didn't say that at all. His example said, give Krishna to others to your last breath. And so Prabhupada chanted 16 rounds and spent the rest of his time giving Krishna. So, and if you give Krishna, if you give the holy name, your chanting will get better. If you give other people the holy name, Krishna will give you more of a taste. What do you think?
Janma sarthak kari karo paropkar. First save yourself, put the mask on yourself, making sure you are safe.
Yeah.
Then you can save others.
Yeah. Yeah. You put the mask on yourself so you can put the mask on your child. Mm-hmm. Not so you can just enjoy oxygen and let everybody die. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So if one is very solidly situated in his sadhana, then doing more sadhana, then he will get more strength to spread or whatever the service.
Compassion will arise.
Yes.
Naturally.
So,
but compassion will arise. But I think we can say naturally compassion will arise because it's inherent within us. Mm-hmm. But when you have the examples of our acharyas, it gives it more emphasis on it. Because like so many things will arise. Tolerance will arise, forgiveness will arise, humility will arise, and so many things will arise. But as our acharyas have taught us, compassion needs a specific outlet. So you could be compassionate without any outlet to save people from lying. So we've been given like a specific. It's very clear in what Prabhupada gave. Compassion has a very central role.
This life I give for chanting. Next life for preaching.
No. You let us say that by preaching your chanting will become purified. Or let us say preaching is an outpour manifestation of proper chanting. Because when you have, what I was trying to say before, it's because Prabhupada has asked us to do it, because Bhaktisiddhanta asked us to do it. So the outpouring of our ecstasy manifest is Jiva Doya.
Yeah. Preaching is sometimes, it dilutes our chanting. So many things in preaching.
Oh, you're too busy?
Not that, but so many type of people we meet, and it affects our chanting.
It can. Really?
Yeah.
Hmm.
So if we are
meaning
focus on
meaning how?
Like people are different kind, and we want to give. They don't want to have it. Mm-hmm. They have their own ideas and conceptions. They have their own priorities. We follow the Shastra. We follow the Sadhu.
And so by their Sangha, you're trying to give them Krishna, they don't take it, and how does that affect your chanting?
We are trying our best. We've given a couple of hours of our lifetime for them now. And they have their own philosophy. Yeah. We try to give it, and I do not want to accept their philosophy.
You chant, then you can chant and pray
I
for
gave
them.
my 2 hours of chanting time to them now. I could have added more in my account.
Oh, you mean during japa time, or
No,
you're thinking of them
I
during
have
japa?
done my japa, but I'm thinking like add more japa to my account balance, like add more.
Instead of wasting time with people who don't want.
Who do not want
Yeah,
they
well, that's a principle of preaching. That's an ABC principle of preaching. Why waste time with someone?
Yeah. Just think like in that 2 hours of extra time,
Yeah, of course.
which I could have had more nama in my account balance,
Yeah,
which will take me further.
yeah. When we were distributing books, periodically we'd meet a Christian, and you get in these debates, and the male ego always wants to win, and it's like a losing battle because the Christian's already convinced, you're not going to convince him.
No.
So periodically, whenever we saw a devotee talking to a Christian, I go, Prabhu, we have to go now,
Yeah.
just to get him away, because he could spend hours, So that is something we learned early on. Sometimes it's not false ego. Sometimes we're just very compassionate and we really want to help them. But through experience, you start to understand who can be helped and who can't, and therefore you don't waste time anymore.
So we have to be a little bit
You give it
selfish also in that sense.
Yeah, you drop seeds everywhere, but if they're not sprouting, sit there and just talk to the seed. Please sprout, please sprout. You just keep watering the ones that are sprouting.
Time for chanting.
Yeah.
That's what I have realized through the Shastra, that the only thing which will help us is the chanting.
And you can give those people prasadam. That will help them. Yeah. Chanting is the main thing.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is supporting that. It's in Kali Yuga, it's the Yuga Dharma.
Mm-hmm.
So, right there in the Bhagavatam, Prabhupada, the question is, well, if I have the holy name, why do I need second initiation and more mantras? And Prabhupada said, because you'll become purified, and that will help your chanting. Then you might say, well, won't chanting purify me? Well, anything you do to purify you will help the chanting, so it's more synergistic. If I'm just chanting, but I'm not chanting well, then I'm not getting as purified as I could. If I do something else that purifies me in a different way, then it helps my chanting. So it's like a different tool to help. It's a different tool to fix something. I need more than one. I can use other tools.
So what is that one single thing which will support chanting? Is it diet, lifestyle, sleep, or association, or reading? Like there are so many things around us. But if I do focus on my chanting.
I would say
is one thing which will really boost my chanting.
The mood you create before you chant. Like we were talking last night. That how you start something is how it goes. So devotees have experience, at least younger devotees. When I start chanting, I'm all over. My mind's all over because I just woke up. Some tamagun is there. I have so many things on my mind, and then I chant. And if I'm trying to chant well, then after a while, I start to feel, a little more Krishna conscious. I feel a little more something. And in my experience, you don't have to chant X number of rounds before you feel something or before you calm down. You could do that in the beginning, from the first beat, if you stop and create the mood. So how do you create the mood? You focus on what is my intention with my japa? What is it that I'm doing? What am I trying to create? What am I offering Krishna? What do I want? How do I want to connect with him? What's the best way? What are the various prayers I want to offer, the emotions? All these things, if you start there, then you're starting on a very high level. Then it should go up from there. And sometimes we start on a low level, like, I don't want to chant, but I have to. So you start with, I have to. And it just goes down from I have to. Because I have to is a very negative way to start anything, right? I have to is what you tell yourself when you have to do something you don't want to do. And so if I said to all of you, you say, hey, Prabhu, can you take prasadam with us? And I say, no, I have to take prasadam with Prem Krishna. What does that sound like? It's like, I don't want to, but I have to. I promised him, I have to do it. And you could see I'd rather be with you. So if there's a I have to in chanting, then it's already like you've put a negative on your relationship with Krishna, saying, I don't really want to do this.
You're looking forward to it.
Yeah. So if you start with, thank you, Krishna, for giving me the holy name. I appreciate this opportunity. I want to offer my heart to you, and so on. Then you're already starting with the mood that you want to maintain through your japa. So I find that extremely important, if not fundamentally essential. If you're more evolved in your chanting, you'll just naturally do that, because you already have so many positive experiences with the holy name. When you start chanting, it's already gratitude, it's already connection, it's already prayer. It's like, now I can just be with Krishna, open up and pray for help, or I can sit with Krishna and meditate on his qualities or his lila. If I'm more advanced, I can do that. And you just look forward to that. And that's what you do.
When I'm chanting, do I talk with Krishna?
Yeah.
Or do I hear the sound?
Both. You're talking, you don't have to use words to talk. Because Krishna knows what's in your heart, and he can feel it. You know, reciprocate with what you're asking. Like the fundamental, one of the most fundamental aspects of chanting that we experience is it's a relationship. You feel your relationship with Krishna, and you're expressing something when you chant. Maybe you're not even conscious of it. But if you think about when you're chanting well, what you're feeling, it's gratitude. It may be either gratitude, it may be either, Krishna, I just want to chant for your pleasure. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. It's just for you. I'm throwing out your holy name back to you for your pleasure. I just want to satisfy you. Will you accept this mantra? Or it's a prayer for pure bhakti. I just want pure bhakti because I don't have it. And I know you want me to have it. I know my guru wants me to have it. I know Prabhupada wants me to have it. And deep in my heart, that's what I want. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. So even if there's no words, that's what you feel. You may not be conscious that you feel that, but when you are chanting well, that's what you feel. Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman ki jai, Shri Radha Braj Vatsal ki jai, Jagannath Swami ki jai.
So if I'm chanting and if I have the affirmation book in front of me, and I read
one
in between.
Yeah, read one and meditate on one.
Do I commit an offense or being inattentive?
No, you become more attentive, because if you read it, you can read an affirmation. If you do that enough, the goal of that book is that you don't ever need it, because you've embodied them all. They become part of you, those affirmations.
So, like, I have this another book. It's called Namamrita.
Yeah.
So I keep in front of me while I'm chanting, and in between I glance it over, and it brings my attention back to my chanting, because that book reinforces my chanting.
Yeah. So what I would, that's perfect. What I would add to that is, like I just said, you want to embody that, so you don't need the book anymore. You want to become that. That's just how you chant. Whatever, like Namamrita will say, the holy name is not different from Krishna. You're worshiping Krishna by chanting his holy name. You have to say so many things. And at some point, if you embody it at some point, then that's just how your chanting will always be like that.
When you say embodied, can you explain it?
Embodied means it's you become. That thing you read is who you are now. So if you read Krishna is his holy name, then when you chant, you're always aware that I'm with Krishna. You don't forget. It's just, if you read the holy name as a crying, like a child for its mother, when you chant, you're always praying. It's like it becomes embodied as the nature of how you chant. So everything, what the holy name is, and everything we learn about the holy name, when you embody it into a process. I'll give you an example. It's not a good example. I'll try to explain it. But when you play golf, you have to learn how to hit the ball properly. If you don't learn, it won't go up. It'll just go down, or it'll go left or right. So you have to be able to learn how to hit it towards the hole and judge how hard you swing, because you have to hit it a certain distance. And so you have lessons, and they say, stand like this, hold it like this, swing like this, not like this, not like. And after a while of practicing, first you have to practice it, not like that, like this, and you keep up reminding yourself, Krishna's in his name, keep reminding myself. I should give my heart, keep reminding myself. Swing like this, hold like this. So, and then your teacher says, no, hold it like this. Because naturally you don't hold it. It's like, there's a way to hold a club. It's like something like this. You never hold your hands like that. You hold your hands like that. So when you hold a club, you want to hold it like this. And no, you hold it like that, from what I remember. And you want to hold your wrist like this. And you don't pull it like this, pull it like this. So many things you learn. And then at some point, you don't think anymore. Unconscious competence. All those things you learn are now embodied in your swing. So all the things you're learning about japa, you're practicing at some point. All of those are just the way you chant. And then with that, like that professional golfer, once he embodies that, he doesn't know, how should I say it? He can't play the game poorly. It's not possible, because he's embodied all the. So you can come to a point where you can't chant poorly, because you've embodied all the right attitudes and methodologies for chanting, that you've embodied it so deeply, it's like kind of impossible to not chant well. That's what we want to come to.
One of the things mentioned is the more you chant, your sense requirements, bodily requirement goes down. That is one of the parameter. Like your sense gratificatory requirements.
Your desire to enjoy,
Yeah. So now,
but the starting point is different for all of us. So your starting point may be lower than mine. So my chanting may be better than yours, but your requirements are still less than mine because you started lower. So that's another consideration. You may be more austere by nature.
yes, and then
So it's more of an idea of a purification of the desire to enjoy. That's really what we're talking about. Then it'll manifest differently in different people. Male, female is a big difference also. And so it's true, but some people by nature are just more renounced. So they can chant bad japa and be more renounced than you in your good japa, because your nature may be different from theirs. So that's another consideration. So I wouldn't compare myself to anybody. I'd compare it to myself.
But not to get discouraged if the desire to have like more food, or some sort, like people have dietary things.
Yeah. So generally, what happens when you advance, when you're becoming, let's say, quote unquote, detached from sense gratification, is you become aware of what you need. And so what you need and what I need may be different. So I need this sweet at the end of my meal. If I don't eat it, I'm not satisfied. And then I'll go back in the kitchen and eat some more. So I don't want to do that. So if I just eat one sweet, that's it. Or if I eat one sweet, I can eat less, then I'm satisfied. That's what I need. And once I get that, everything's good. I need this size home. If it's less than this, I go crazy. And I'll be in anxiety that my house is too small. I don't have proper space to do what I need to do. And, things are cluttered. There's boxes everywhere. It's driving me crazy. I can't chant. That's just my nature. And so, okay, get a little bigger house. I got, a garage. I can throw all the extra stuff. I have an office. I can, I don't have to put the office in my bedroom where I sleep, it's all. And so that's what you need. That's what you need. And your needs and my needs may be different. And it doesn't, let's say my needs are more than yours. It doesn't mean like I'm
Bad chanter.
bad chanter or a sense gratifier. It just means by my constitutional nature, this is like requirement. So it should be like, this is sufficient. It's not like I need so much, but I need this, which is, you only need this, I need this. This is sufficient for you. So the word is sufficient. And if it's sufficient, that's just detachment. That's your detachment, is you have what is sufficient. If it's less than sufficient, it could be a problem. Now, if you're a brahmachari living in a temple, your sufficiency level is already lower. It has to be, because the temple can only provide so much.
If administration takes away your time and it affects your chanting, what do you do with that? I mean, you can't give up the administration.
What do? I can tell you what I do. I get people to help me. Yeah. Well, here's a thought. As a leader of a temple, your first job is not administration. Your first job is to be a pure devotee and set a perfect example. In order to do that, you should get other people to administrate. So you can just sit and chant your rounds and they can run around and go crazy. And at least you can be an example. Because if you're running around going crazy, then no one's going to chant because they won't see an example. Or if other people are chanting, they'll say, yeah, but Prem Kishore is not chanting, so we don't have to. So the leader ideally should not be the one doing all the details. Of course, you can't always control that, but whatever you can control that. So you can be an example. You're the teacher, you're the acharya. Prabhupada always says the best way to teach is by example.
Right.
Yes.
Is 1:32, like I read somewhere that the chanting between 1:30 a.m. to 4 a.m. is like a first class chanting. Is that?
You'd have to show that to me. I always thought 1:30 a.m. was too early.
Somebody said that, somebody quoted Tamal Krishna Maharaj. And Tamal Krishna Maharaj. Somebody quoted him while recently, and he said that the chanting between 1:30 to 4 is the type A category chanting, and then 4:30 to 7 is B category.
4:37, and then after 7 is
C, D, E, F, like that.
Yeah, and then 3 in the afternoon is X, Y, and 10 o'clock at night is Z.
What is your experience about early morning, like 1:30?
Well, this is interesting. I'm glad you brought it up. Because I wouldn't argue with that. What I would argue with it is setting that in stone, because it sounds like, well, so let's say you tried it out and said you didn't get up at 1:30, but you got up at 3, and so you chanted from 3:30 to 4:30, and it was really good.
Mm-hmm.
Then at 5:15 you sat down to chant. It's like, well, it's not as good, right? And you have a few rounds left. And you come back and you finish them before you go to sleep, and go, those are definitely not as good. Mm-hmm. And I would not deny you'd have that experience. I think most of us would. The problem with that is it predisposes us to a certain quality of chanting, because we already expect that it's not going to be good at that time. So, you didn't get up, you tried the early morning thing, and, for a week you did it, but you're so tired, you fell asleep at work. And it's like, I have too much to do. I can't go to bed before 10. And if I get up at 2:30, 4.5 hours of sleep, I won't be functional. I'll get sick. And so you go back to like 10 to 4 or whatever. Then you start your rounds at 5:15, right? And then you're thinking, These are not going to be as good as the earlier rounds, right? That's the problem that I see. You know,
That's
it's
right.
like I can't, at 5:15 to 7, I can't chant as well as I can from 1:30 to 4. So 1:30 to 4, probably what it means is, not probably, I know what it means is, it's the environment is so conducive. It's easier, right? So 5:15, it's not as easy. More's going on. You hear them cooking in the banging pots in the kitchen. People are coming in and out of the temple. The pujaris are on the altar making noise. Like when I was doing japa retreats, I was able, when I was doing a lot, it helped me so much. I was able to go very deep in my chanting. And so I would chant in my living room. And then when my wife would walk in, it would totally distract me. She didn't make any noise. She just walked in the room. And I lost it. I lost that concentration. So I kind of create that 1:30 mood in my house just by like turning everything off. There's nothing going on. The lights are out and I'm just chanting. So it's 6 o'clock, but it's like 1 in the morning, you know. So it's an environment, right? So what I have to say about that is that there's an internal environment also you have to create. So you don't have to create it at 1:30 because it's created for you.
Yes.
But later on, you have to create it because it's not created for you. Like we went on a walk yesterday at 5 o'clock. So of course, we went to walk in a nice environment, so it was easier to chant. But it's like you have to create some kind of internal, like we're talking about. You know, what's the bhav of the japa? And I have to be aware that there's so many distractions, and I don't want to be in, as far as possible, in a distracting environment. So I want to create a good internal and external environment. So in that situation, it's possible at 9:30 at night, when those 2 last rounds you have, they could be as good as the ones at 1:30. It's possible. There's no rule that says it can't be. There's no rule that says that the rounds in the japa walk can't be as good as the ones at 2 a.m. There's no rule. It's just we have experienced that by nature, it's better earlier. And so we start to think it can't be good later. And have you ever done something and you think, well, you know, I can't really do it well? Then why would you try to do it well if you already know you can't? Like you say, here, Prem Kishore, I want to teach you how to play harmonium. I can't play. I'm not good at music. So, no, just try. You're not going to get good unless you have some belief that even though I'm not a great musician, I could learn. Then you get into it. You deal with the negatives in the environment or within yourself to overcome the resistance to thinking I can't get good at it. And so you have to do that when you're chanting and you're thinking it's not a good time or a good place, and think, well, how could I do it in this environment? And in some environments, it's like, you know, you're at the airport. It's harder. There's so much going on. How do I focus? But I've chanted some good rounds at the airport. I've chanted some good rounds at 9:30 at night. Sometimes better than the ones at 2 a.m. So it's
just
possible.
by creating internal environment.
Yeah, and
So that
being conscious of the external environment. So you ever been in a car and you're trying to chant, people are talking? It's impossible. You can't. So that like your internal environment can't function properly in that. There's too much distraction. So you might think, you know, I got rounds left, trying to chant in the car, just stop chanting. This is a waste. When we get there, before the program, I'll go for a walk. I'll finish those rounds. So you, and then those rounds will be good.
Walking japa and sitting japa, like my experience is like when I'm walking, my japa gets a little distracted.
Yes.
When I'm sitting,
Yes.
I can do it more focused.
So I think it's the same principle that if I'm going to chant and walk for whatever reason, I'm tired or I need the exercise or whatever, and if you find it more distracting, you have to make an effort, more of an effort to hear and focus and continually remind yourself that even though I'm walking, it's some people have better experiences walking. It's not, and some people have better experiences sitting. So I don't like to say sitting is better than walking, although I think it is, because it's not true for everybody. It's easier when you're sitting because there's less. Walking means some Rajagun. Sitting is more sattvic. So it's, there's nothing going on. When the body moves, the mind tends to move, isn't it? When you look around, the mind's, there's things, like we were going for a walk, and he said, do you want to go to that garden was, the international garden, whatever it was? And I said, no, because I'll get distracted by it. Which here I'm not distracted by anything other than the deities. So it's something you have to work on.
If I'm sitting in front of deities and I'm doing my japa, should I keep my eyes open or closed? Because when I keep my eyes closed, I can focus more on my sound vibration. But then if I open my eyes, I can see the deities.
Yeah. Both pictures on my japa books, we have japa affirmations 1 and 2, and both pictures, Prabhupada's eyes are closed when he's chanting japa.
I've seen quite a few senior devotees actually keeping their eyes closed in the front of deities.
But something to consider, just as a meditation, is that Krishna is the sound incarnation and the deity is the wood or marble or metal incarnation. So it's the same Krishna. That name you're chanting is the deity.
Keep open, close.
And the deity is the name. So that might help you also. Hare, I'm chanting. But for some people, they'll get somewhat distracted by looking at the deities. Like this morning, I went up to chant in front of Jagannath and I got distracted by his crown. Jagannath Swami Ki Jai.
Would you call that distraction or
I was going to address that. I was looking at the crown and I was thinking, you really went overboard on this. You didn't miss any detail. Like everything is done so well. Look at those crowns. It's like crowns you'd see in any big temple in India or any big temple, in America that's been around for 50 years and has really high standard deity worship. So if we are greeting the deities and I'm looking at the crown, it adds to the, because I'm looking at Lord Jagannath, what is he wearing? Look at the whole everything, right? But when you're chanting, you want to be focused on your prayers and your hearing, so then that could be a distraction. And people who are artistic and worship deities, maybe for them it's even more, because they're looking at more details, how the deities were dressed, and how I would dress them, and which is a beautiful meditation. But it could be distracting. And the individual who's chanting has to determine. Now, you could be chanting Hare Krishna, hearing the mantra, and be thinking about dressing the deity, how I would dress them. And that could be an incredible meditation. So it depends. So my general answer is, we're supposed to be absorbed in hearing and praying, and whatever helps you do that, do it. You shouldn't listen to a kirtan because Prabhupada said it's redundant. There's Mahamantras going on in 2 places. So there may be things that will help you shouldn't do. But you can play the sounds of Vrindavan or the Shanai. Prabhupada said the Shanai is auspicious. It creates a nice atmosphere. So maybe some sound, or, I don't know. I don't do this, but someone might want to put on a recording of a waterfall because it calms them down. Who knows,
Do you ever do the earplugs and chanting? I have some experience with that. I put the earplugs so I can hear my own sound.
Yeah, if that helps. I normally wouldn't use them unless someone's chanting very loudly, and I can't go anywhere else, and I don't want to hear them and hear myself. I don't think any of that's a problem, and I think you know the answer to these by your experience. We know when we're chanting well by our experience. We know when we're not chanting well by our experience.
Yeah.
You feel more inspired. You can, like I sometimes ask devotees, when you chant, you should think of the quality, like grade yourself. What quality is your job? Is it above average, below average? Above average means like, yeah, this is good. I'm getting purified. Below average is like, it's not really doing anything. I'm not chanting well. So if you have some sense of what is above average, what's below average, then if you, whatever, eyes open, eyes closed, earplugs in, out, you can just say it. That's, it helped. I can tell if I was to evaluate it on a scale, I could tell this actually helped a lot. And everyone's different, so everyone will find their help. And some people, like you see in India in big temples, they're sitting in circles and in front of Tulsi, and that could be like for some people just like, wow, that's the best. And other people say, I can't chant. There's too many people. I'm too distracted. It's too noisy. I can't hear myself. And then they go outside.
Yeah.
They find a little corner where it's quiet and they chant.
I've seen that. Yeah.
So I think that's the most important thing.
The timing, like for one round, I've seen that for me it takes about anywhere between 6 to 7 minutes.
Yeah.
Now, sometimes I don't know how that happens. The round gets finished very quickly. I'm not sure what happens there. Like I try to focus my sound, and I said, "Oh, this has to
Like
take
what,
7
4
minutes."
minutes or something? 3.5?
I mean, one time I've noticed that. So I keep sometimes a timer in front of me.
Yeah.
Just want to make sure I don't miss any sound vibration in
Yeah.
between.
If your chanting doesn't take at least 5 minutes, or probably more like 6,
Yeah.
two possibilities are you're not chanting a 32 syllable mantra and you're maybe skipping beads.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram
Skipping
Ram,
the beat.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. I've done that before. And it's like I finish a round in 3.5 minutes. And I go, that's like
That's not
half the
right.
time.
Yeah.
That's half the time it normally takes me. So Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram. I'm doing that and I'm not conscious.
So better to keep a bigger beats or the medium-sized beats, or
Doesn't
like
matter.
yours are pretty big. Now, if I have that type of beats, I mean, I would have a hard time in chanting with those.
Well, if you also if you're skipping beats, take them out. And Hare Krishna, it's like and look at it. Big, small, doesn't matter. Tulsi just should be Tulsi. Big, small, the amount of time, as long as it's over 5.5. You're not skipping, doesn't matter. These are externals. What matters is your bhakti. It's not like deity worship, it's like it has to be exactly. You gotta finish the artik in 25 minutes, and these are the articles you offer, and this is how you offer them. Chanting's not exactly like that. It's slightly, but not as detailed.
So I finish my 16 rounds, and then remaining, I want to do more. It's because 16 is just like not that enough, It's not great. So I'm doing it because I can't sit and do all the things. So I do remaining, but without counting. Just keep on going. Right. So does that
Without beads, on beads, off
without beads, without counting,
beads?
just on timer. Just want to make a timer. I put a timer in my clock and like watch. Just keep on going. Does that matter?
If it works for you, why don't you want to chant on beads?
Oh, I'm working, right? I'm
okay.
the
Yeah,
work,
okay.
driving, doing so many things.
Yeah.
Now I want to.
You know what I think? Here's a thought, and it's not absolute because I can't. It's just my own experience, and I can't validate it. Well, Prabhupada once said, chant 16 on beads, unlimited off beads. And Prabhupada also said, if he'd see somebody doing nothing, he said, well, you should chant. Why are you doing nothing? Here's a problem that I've noticed. That chanting produces habits. The way we chant becomes a habit. And I've noticed if I chant extra, like while I'm doing something, I'm very distracted because I'm distracted by what I'm doing, So did someone say, should you not chant? And I'm not saying that. I'm saying I think kirtan is better when you're doing things because I've experienced, I don't know if you have, but if I'm just chanting, doing stuff, it's very distracted. And then when I go to japa, I've like got that samskara of distraction when I chant, because that's how I was chanting. I was cooking and just Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Om Mani Ram. And I don't want to chant japa that way, doing something else. So I'd rather do kirtan.
So
it's a different.
We are creating a negative habit.
It's possible. I can't say everyone is. I can say I am, and I think maybe if you think about it, you might see also, because you're not supposed to chant japa and not be focused on hearing. I think with kirtan it's easier. It's a slightly different process, and it seems more natural.
Sing rather than chant.
To me, it seems more natural. Because you're driving Hare Krishna, it's like, it's a whole thing, singing. It's like, but japa is supposed to Hare Krishna, And you can't when you're driving unless you're on a road and there's no people. And you don't have to concentrate on traffic. But you're more it's nice, you're chanting, but your concentration is on something else. And you want to develop japa habits of focus. That's not a habit of focus, so it could be a problem. I don't want to say universally a problem for everyone, because I'm sure lots of people just like to chant Hare Krishna. But I've always, off my beads, for me, it was always better. Kirtan. Singing, yeah. Yeah. It just seemed more like the right thing to do, and that japa really reserved for a focus.
Focus time.
That's how I feel. And so I had, in teaching about japa, one of the things that we were trying to do is get rid of bad habits. I just sit down as soon as I chant, my mind just goes off. And, after 4 rounds, I look at my phone and go do something else, like, no, we have to change these habits. How do you change habits? By practicing better habits over a long period of time. So I became quite sensitive to habits. So I felt like, when you're chanting japa, every time you're chanting, you're just instilling habits. So you want to be careful, just chanting haphazardly, mindlessly. Because at least for me, when I've done that, the next morning when I chant japa, that's how I chant. Because that's how I was chanting before.
You created the pattern.
So it's something just to look at. Maybe that's not true for you. Maybe you like to chant, just chant while you're doing. There's also chanting shlokas. There's also hearing. It depends. You can be, put your earbuds in and do your work, and and you'll get distracted, but you'll hear some, get distracted, and you can rewind and go back. But chanting poorly, it's like, I don't know. I don't like it. Unless, you're chanting and you're doing stuff, doesn't take any concentration, and you feel it's like, it's good.
Singing. That's a good idea, suggestion.
See how it goes. Try it on for size.
Great, Prabhu.
All right.
Unless you guys have any questions.
I just have, when we hear the story of Ajamil in the Bhagavatam,
Yes.
he just, without any motivation or intention, he said Narayan, right? And so when we chant, when we
Why don't we get the benefit of the Jamil?
No, when we say about the offenses, then.
Yeah.
So at least we are in
Jamil's chanting did not give him love for Krishna. Jamil's chanting saved him from his past sins. And then Prabhupada said he was given an opportunity now. It's like cleared out all that past sin. He was saved by the Yamadutas. Didn't go back to Godhead. And it's like, okay, now that's clear. Now you have to you can't chant committing the offenses if you want to love Krishna. And in order to not chant committing offenses, you have to know them. You have to avoid all of them. But his chanting was namabhas because he didn't know the offenses. So it's a funny thing. If you don't know the offenses, you can't make them. But you also can't get shuddhanam because you have to know the offenses to consciously avoid all of them to get shuddhanam. If you accidentally avoid them, well, you actually could make offenses even if you don't know. But Jamil's chanting was not considered offensive because he was just calling his son.
Yeah.
So it wasn't. But that chanting would only give you freedom from sinful reaction. It won't give you love of Krishna. In order to get love of Krishna, you have to know all those offenses. You have to know the theology of the holy name. You have to be practicing bhakti, purifying your heart. There's so many things. So you can't apply it. The Jamil story glorifies the power of the holy name. But it's not an example for us because we're practitioners.
Right.
So there's a difference.
And in that time when something terrible happens to you, like, or someone, like, let's say, close one from your relative or friend died recently, or an accident happens or something, so your mind would be, because if it's a recent event, then your mind would be like continue thinking about that, right?
Yeah.
So that situation, how to focus on chanting, like if something.
That's more difficult. You could pray to the holy name to help you focus on the holy name. There's other, we could also say, well, there's other things you could do to deal with that problem that would make it easier, not that problem, that challenge, that would make it easier for you to accept, and so that would also be part of what you would do to help your chanting so that you're not so distraught when you're chanting. So, this is life. It's inevitable. We're all going to die. I got to know this person. I miss him, but I'm so fortunate I knew him. And I just have to cry for a while. And all this stuff. To remove that, to help you with that grief, which would also help your chanting. So they're all, everything's connected. Right? It's like you have an argument with a friend, you might think, I should just apologize because my mind's agitated, and if I don't apologize all morning tomorrow during japa, I'm just going to think of him and how wrong he was or how much I don't like him. So if I apologize, we'll just neutralize it, and then the next day I can just be peaceful. So maybe sometimes the chanting itself is not going to do it. What you do when you're not chanting will create a better environment for your mind and heart. And you can apply that in your whole life. What you do today is going to have some effect on your chanting tomorrow morning. How you treat people, what you see, what you hear, what you say, so many things. What you choose to, so many choices you make are going to affect your japa the next day. Because japa is not something in a vacuum. It's not like I can just, go to the bar tonight and then come here tomorrow and chant good rounds because I'm going to put effort in. You could, but theoretically you couldn't because you're contaminating your consciousness in the day and you're trying to purify it. So if you're trying to purify it, just keep acting in a pure way during the day. That will support your chanting. And sometimes you try to chant and you can't. It's just your mind is disturbed or something is going on. Then you may want to think, is there something I did yesterday? Did I offend a devotee? Or whatever it was. Was I just meditating on the wrong things? So, so it's important to understand that your lifestyle supports your japa. That's why there are 4 Vegeta principles taken at initiation, because if we don't follow those, it undermines the japa.
Right.
Isn't that, it's interesting, right? Like, why did Prabhupada ask us to follow those 4 at initiation? Because he's giving us the holy name. And initiation, the idea is you're going to make an effort to chant pure Nam, And so you have to stop doing impure things if you want pure knowing. So in your day, the more pure your day is, the more pure your japa will be the next day, and vice versa.
Sometimes our chanting is on the physical platform, sometimes on the mental platform, and sometimes on the spiritual platform. Like sometimes we are focused on hearing and sitting properly and like physical stuff. Then sometimes we are trying to balance our mind and bring the mind to Krishna. And then sometimes we want to connect with Krishna spiritually. So is all go step by step or hand in
If,
hand?
if I think there's a certain stage of involvement in japa where it all happens simultaneously. Because if you want to chant well, you're naturally going to sit up and you won't chant like this. That's when you don't want to chant well. That's how you sit. Or in life in general, it's like that when you're not enthusiastic. So there's two ways to answer your question. One is in a beginning stage, the answer is yes, physiology is important because psychology follows physiology. But the other answer I'm giving is physiology follows psychology. So that my psychology is I want to chant purely, my physiology follows it. So in a less advanced state, I have to have physiology first because I don't have the mood. So, okay, I sit up straight. It creates a better mood for concentration because physiologically it's affecting my mind. But if I go in my heart and I have a deep desire to be Krishna conscious, and I'm chanting with that deep desire, I'm just, that's going to affect my physiology. So I prefer to focus on what Prabhupada said. He said, if you have a strong desire to love Krishna, your sadhana will be better, which I think is obvious. So if you have a strong desire to love Krishna, your chanting will be better. And so all the things that make it better, like hearing, pronunciation, sitting, they would all come because your desire to love Krishna is strong. And that's a real secret in Bhakti. The secret to improving japa is improve your desire to love Krishna. So you could say a secret to improving your posture, your hearing, your pronunciation is just increase your desire to love Krishna. Because if that desire is strong, you'll do everything better to fulfill that desire, including chanting better, right? Chanting early in the morning. I want to love Krishna. Best time early in the morning. I'll get up and chant early, right?
So in the exercise world, they say your why has to be strong
Yes.
to make the process successful.
Yes.
So why am I chanting? So I'm chanting just because I want to get out of this material world.
That's
is it
one
like a
reason. That's
selfish
one
desire?
reason. That's
Yeah.
one reason.
So
Is that sufficient?
what is that strong why which will hold one to?
Because Krishna loves me and I don't love him. And I want to reciprocate with his love. Otherwise, I spend my whole life taking from him everything he gives me, plus taking all the help he gives me to love him, and I don't use that help. Like I was looking at the deities this morning, and I was thinking, as Prabhupada said, Krishna is so kind that he comes in the form of the deity so you can serve him, right? So that's a very strong manifestation of Krishna's love, isn't it? That he would, God doesn't love me. Well, he came, do you have deities? Well, he must love you if you have deities because he's letting you serve him and you're not qualified. So what's the why? Krishna's giving me everything. And he's asking me to reciprocate. Become my devotee, worship me. I want you to come back to me. Think of me.
Mm.
I'm chanting because I want to reciprocate with that love, that I want to reconnect with Krishna, that I've hit rock bottom materially. There's nothing left for me in this world. I can't look back now. There's nothing to go back to. This is all that's left, is my relationship with him. And if I don't get that, it's like you left your country, you came here. Or let's say you were Ukrainian and you left and you came here. You have to make it here because you've got nothing to go back to. Your house has been destroyed. It's not safe. So that's how we're supposed to be as devotees. I can't go back to the material. I gave up on that, and I only have Krishna, and I want to love him, and I want to reciprocate with his love. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And you might say, well, that sounds good for you, but maybe not so good for me. Maybe that doesn't resonate with you. So then you have to find something that resonates with you. That resonates with me a lot. You have to find something that resonates. If that doesn't resonate strongly for you, then you'll have to find something that resonates. It could be, Krishna, I'm suffering without you. I need you. I can't deal with anything. It could be, I am so attracted to pure bhakti. I just want pure bhakti. That's all I want. It could be, I want to get out of the material world. I hate it here. I can't stand it. Krishna, save me, get me out. Maybe some desires are more pure than others, but
Maybe in the evening we can talk more about the stages of chanting and how we can progress from Namaprad to Shuddha Nama.
we can talk about it, certainly.
Stages, elevation is very important.
Yeah. 6 o'clock this evening, Eastern Standard Time.
Yes.
Don't miss it. How to elevate yourself from Nam Aparad to Shuddha Nam.
Yes.
In 1 week.
Thank you.
It's possible in 1 week. I don't know. I'm talking to the microphone. It's possible in 1 week. Can't guarantee it, but
Let's try for it.
yeah. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you.